You're listening to the Teach Better Talk podcast featuring expert educators eager to share progressive tactics to reach more students. Teach Better Talk is created by teachers and fueled by passion. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 244 of Teach Better Talk podcast. We have already been talking to Chris for about 15 minutes, but finally we are at the episode. My name is Ray Hewart, and as always, I'm with my Oreo-loving friend, Mr. Jeff Gargas. Jeff, do you want to share with the class why you got that type of description today?
Because prior to hitting record, prior to where Chris cut and made us act like we just hit record, we were talking about how I got Oreos today, or I got a thing of wine today because I had to go to the store and get Oreos because I ate all the Oreos after telling my daughter that I got her a pack of Oreos and I wasn't going to eat them. Mm-hmm. And I didn't eat all of them. Don't get me wrong, I didn't eat all of them. She ate some, Amy ate some, but I ate a lot.
So Jeff,
it's amazing to me that I have gone 400 days without eating any fried food. And I'm now at 60-something days with never, not even a single item from a fast food restaurant. But until I make that 75-day commitment, I'm just I can eat 5,000 Oreos.
So Jeff,
and so I got the wine to make myself feel better for eating all my daughter's Oreos. Mm-hmm. And I grabbed 2 packs just in case. So that's
Jeff,
where I'm at in life.
Let's talk a little bit. How did that make you feel?
Honestly, which part? How did what make me feel?
How did it make you feel that your daughter was really excited for something awesome and you took that away from her? How did that make you feel?
Well, to be fair, I ate some of them today, so she was already she was at grandma's, so she'll come home to 2 big things of Oreos. Well, 1.5 probably by the time she gets home of Oreos. So that made me feel like I needed a bottle of wine. I was asking what you were asking about, because if you were asking me how did it feel to eat the Oreos, and be well, great, they're Oreos.
Hey everyone,
every second of it.
Just to confirm, this is not an ad for Oreos. We don't condone eating full packages of Oreos in one sitting. Please, treat your body well and turn off this podcast and maybe fast forward so you can listen to the rest of this episode.
However, if anyone from Oreo, who is that? Is that Nabisco or is that Nestle? Is that Nabisco? It's Nabisco, right?
Are we going to debate this for 5 minutes?
Listen, I eat a lot of your products. So if you want to sponsor the podcast, you can pay for it in Oreos. They don't even no, they do. They have to be double stuffed.
Let me type this out. Dear Oreo Corporation, we would very much value you as a sponsor of Teach Better Talk podcast. I think we could do this.
I don't think I've ever heard that voice before. What is that?
Just trying to be as official as possible. Getting in the zone, Jeff. We're recording a podcast.
Get out of here. What is that? I like that. Is that right. I couldn't tell if that was that a Ray thing, or was that you? Was that me? Were you just doing me right there? Was that Jeff's voice when I write?
I was trying to sound official because we're going to transition into the official Teach Better Speakers Network, and they sound like professionals when people bring them in to speak. So I was trying to transition.
Speaking of professional and awesome speakers, mm-hmm. We were talking earlier about PJ Capozzi.
I love him.
Fairly new to the Teach Better Speakers Network, and just pretty recently, they released his TEDx talk, his TED Talk with TEDx. His was TEDx Wrigley, right? Yeah.
Yep, Wrigleyville.
Which was dynamite. Now I've seen PJ a few times in person, and speak, so that was no surprise to me. If you don't know PJ Capozzi, when you see him, he's a dynamite. He's awesome. He shares such his connection to his personal story is so powerful and inspirational. So,
he's someone that actually is in an education role right now. He's a superintendent in Illinois. He's doing a ton of good work, and I think that people already find him and see him as an expert and as somebody that they want to learn from. But then when he dives into his personal story, you're like, whoa, this guy has lived. He's good people, and he's got a voice that's worth hearing. So if you guys have not heard him, you can either go check out PJ Capozzi at teachbetter.com/speakers network, or honestly, guys, if you go to Google and just type in PJ Capozzi TED Talk, it's the first thing that pops up. I just did it. Yeah. So Easiest way to find it.
So I would say that PJ with that, he really set the bar high for TED Talks.
So high, yes.
So if I were someone who had maybe recently been asked to give a TED Talk, let's just throwing it out there, like maybe like a TEDx normal or something like that, I would be pretty nervous. So as that's me pretending. You, on the other hand, don't have to pretend because you are doing a TEDx talk, TEDx normal, like really, really soon.
Yes, when this episode's released.
You're going to have done it, before this episode even releases.
Yeah, so when this episode released, we'll have done the recording because they're doing all pre-recorded and it's airing to the public on February 13th. So, Jeff, can I just say, I'm so stinking nervous. When we're recording this right now, I am recording my TED Talk 5 days from now. So needless to say, I'm not feeling so hot. But after, when you guys are hearing this podcast, it'll be all done and I'll just be excited for y'all to see it. It is completely free registration. So I hope that everybody in the, Teach Better family signs up using the free link and, hopefully get some value out of the conversation.
Chris, make sure we get that link, put it up on the screen right here if you're watching on YouTube, and then make sure you throw it in the show notes as well. So we have that so you guys can all go support Ray. Ray, what is your talk? Are you allowed to share what the talk is on? I don't know the rules with TED.
Yeah, I can share what the talk is on.
Okay, you're allowed to share? Okay.
I was going to really quick grab the links. I'm so sorry. I'm like pulling it up on my phone to figure out what. So the link is super easy. It's tedxnormal.net/attend. So if you search TEDx Normal, you just have to click on attend. And it, like I said, free registration and it's streaming February 13th. If you don't catch it February 13th, you can catch it when it's up on the TED website, but it'll be cool. So yeah, the topic. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, tell us about it. What's going on? I'm thinking we're working through this. We're like you sharing the awesomeness of what you're going to share. Maybe it'll help with the nerves a little bit. That's what.
All right, that would be helpful.
To hear like this and critique you.
Oh, goodness. Guys. Okay, it's called Better Than YouTube is the title of my TEDx. And the reason that was the title when I was initially thinking about this proposed idea was because I really want educators to begin seeing themselves as more than just content delivery system and as the facilitator of the exploration that exists in their classroom. So YouTube is a great resource to consume information and better understand an idea. But educators are far better than just delivery systems of sharing knowledge, right? I used to joke like bestowing knowledge upon its listeners, right? You can ask questions. You can give personalized feedback. You have so much power to do so much more than just spit out the stuff that's in your brain. So while this audience is going to be all type of people, right? It's not just educators I'll be working with. I'll be speaking to parents, community members, businesses, students, everything in between. I think it's really an emphasis of how important educators are and the challenge to truly allow and support educators to do what they do best, which is to provide students dynamic learning opportunities that are not lecture-based. And so I'm very, very excited to hopefully get that across in a very short amount of time.
I really like that. I'm with everyone listening right now. I didn't know what your topic was. I asked you and you're like, oh, I'm talking about stuff with YouTube better than. I'm like, all right, well, awesome. That's great. I really like that. I actually there was a couple years ago, I had I want to call it an argument, debate, whatever, a conversation with a educator, actually a music teacher. And she made the statement, well, yeah, my kids can't learn how to play an instrument from, I think she may have said from YouTube or online, whatever. I'm like, well, that's completely false. I'm like, you can learn how to play every instrument in every different way 1 billion times over on YouTube, and I can access that all the time when I'm not in your class. I'm like, but they can learn it a whole lot better if they have you with them, right? They can learn it there, but they can't feel your passion and your love and the way that you creatively think about it and how it affects you and how it hits your soul. Like, they can't get that the same way from a YouTube video, but they can learn it, right? They can get that. They can grab that content. It can be delivered to them, right? Or bestowed upon them via all these other things, but those things aren't you, right? They don't bring the awesomeness that is you. So I love that it's just better. And a nice little touch with it better. That was good. I don't know if you meant to do that. We do like a better thing here.
I did know that.
So yeah. I don't know if that's where you went.
I won't lie to you, Jeff, and maybe we can say this on the podcast because I haven't really had a space to share this yet. You know
This
how
is
in
safe space.
in a Taylor Swift video, there's all these like Easter eggs that the true people who
No.
follow Taylor Swift can find all these hidden messages, right? I have put a lot of Teach Better family things into my TED Talk. And so, better, using the word better is one of them, but there's a lot of things that you're going to see. Like if you were at the Teach Better 19 conference, there was a very special moment. I'm not going to ruin it. There's a very special moment when I was doing my speech at the end of the day on Friday where I brought my students into the conversation.
Oh, that was my favorite moment of the conference, I think.
Yeah, so that is a part of our conversation for the TED Talk, and I'm bringing that back. There's a little, shout out to my family that I know a lot of you have learned about. So if you are going to join us February 13th, or you're going to watch it live later on YouTube, I recommend little sneak peek. Have like 2 marker caps with you, or have 2 corks, or something of that size. There'll be a little activity I'll be having you do in my TED Talk. So not everyone will be able to do the activity because they may not have that easily accessible. But if you're listening and you're going to do that free registration, like have 2 pen caps or 2 markers or 2 corks or something nearby so you can really get the full experience.
Interesting. Question. I know everyone listening is probably thinking the same thing that I am right now.
Sure.
If you had to guess, and it's okay if you're not like completely spot on, but if you had to guess a percentage of your TED Talk, how much, like what percent of your TED Talk is about me?
Oh, so I'd say about 98.4%. For sure.
98.4%. That's good. Yeah. That's good. Not quite where I wanted you to be, but that's close. Okay.
I mean, I give a little shout out to like my family and like community members and educators as a whole, but everything else, Jeff, it's all you, dude. All you. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Ray, we are so proud of you. I know I goof with you a lot and we joke around a lot, but super proud of you. Super excited for everyone to hear it and to watch it. And I'm excited to dig in as well. It was kind of cool to like that I didn't know your topic and what you were talking about until right now. And so I kind of got to find out with everyone listening. So that's pretty cool. So I'm super excited about that. Also really excited about this episode. This was a great episode. Bethany Petty is not only just awesome and a good friend of ours, a fellow DBC author with 2 of her books there. She's also an award-winning high school social studies teacher. She blogs, she writes, she does PD for people. Apparently she runs a bunch right now too. And she's just super passionate. I mean, she kind of says it a couple times. She's kind of nerdy about the stuff in social studies and stuff, which I think I just love when we get teachers on here who just really not only love teaching and the impact they have, but also like really legit love their subject matter. Because you just feel it. So you say this a lot where they ooze through, right? That passion is, she just oozes her passion for what she does and how she gets to do it with her kids and stuff. So super excited for this episode. Anything you would like to share there before we jump in?
I just think everyone should go follow her. She is on every single platform, including TikTok, which she does discuss in this episode. Follow her on Instagram, Twitter. Go make a connection. Good people.
I love it. With that, let's get an episode 244 with Bethany Petty.
We'll be getting right back to this podcast episode, but really quick, I want to give a special shout out to any leaders in schools. If you are a district leader, a school building leader in any capacity, the Teach Better team has a weekly administrative mastermind, which actually welcomes in district leaders from around the world to come together and collaborate. There is no better time than right now to make sure that you are considering all factors and sharing resources with educators around the country and around the world. This is an amazing get-together that happens every single Tuesday. And if you have any sort of leadership role, consider this your invitation. You can get the private link to make sure that you're part of this weekly get-together over at teachbetter.com/mastermind. All right, leaders, we'll see you there, but let's get back to this episode.
All right, we're here and we're chatting with Bethany Petty. And Bethany, awesome to have you on the podcast. Excited to be connected with you. Been connected for a while, but we're connected through DBC and the books and all that stuff and on social media. But we haven't had you on the podcast yet, so we haven't been able to like dive in yet. So I'm excited about that, just to get to know you a little bit more and to share your story a little bit more. So before we get too far into that, how are you feeling right now?
Oh my gosh, I am super excited, first of all, to be talking with you guys. And I am coming off of a day of professional development, which was really great. And today is Monday. And this is my 7th Monday in a row that I've gotten up and I've run a 5K to start my day. So
no way.
Yes,
nice.
I am so excited. I set that goal for myself. I was doing a running program like starting in October, and I love running, but this just like really, I guess I got faster and I felt more confident. And I woke up one morning in December and was like, I think I can do that 5K. And then I just kept going. So this is my 7th Monday in a row. And I've been running for 32 days straight. So I'm loving it.
Bethany, we're only like 1 minute into this recording and you've already like given people the moment where they like drop their jaw and they're like, no way. How is that possible? You're like Superwoman. That's so cool.
Man. I am super caffeinated all the time. That's it right there.
Oh, well, you and I live very similar lives, minus the running. Let's go back to the coffee. Anywho, Bethany, I'm really excited that you're here. I hope that our listeners can like sense the energy and the fun and the positivity. And, you know, those are the type of people we love. So before we get started diving into all the fun answers you're going to give, I'm sure so many tidbits so far. Will you mind answering kind of that age-old question of what do you do?
Yes, absolutely. So when it actually took me a few years once I started teaching to be able to actually say, when people ask me that, I'm a teacher or I teach, I'm a teacher. I always felt like I had like this imposter syndrome the first few years that I was like, I don't really know if I've reached that level of, you know, awesomeness where I can actually say I am a teacher. But I am a teacher. I definitely am. I'm a teacher who wears many hats. First and foremost, I'm a mommy. And a wife. I guess I should mention that. My husband's pretty cool too. But I have 2 little girls. They're 10 and 8. And I think that my first priority obviously is them, but I'm a teacher for them. I'm, you know, obviously trying to bring them up in a positive environment, thinking that they can do anything and everything they want to. I'm a teacher when I'm working with my students during the day, teaching high school social studies. I'm a teacher when I'm working with my pre-service educators. I teach online educational technology for a local junior college. I'm a teacher whenever I'm volunteer soccer coaching, which I have no clue anything about soccer, but I'm just, we kick it that way. That's pretty much all I can tell them. I'm a teacher when I'm, you know, presenting and speaking to educators all over the country. So that's who I am. I'm a teacher.
Gee, Ray, she lives on coffee and she likes soccer. You know.
I knew we were going to get along because, like I said, I follow you and all that stuff. But I think this is a match made in heaven, is what I'm getting from this.
Oh, yes.
Now, Bethany, you need to know that the running may be a deal breaker there. But
come on, it's great. It's great. It's endorphins. It's awesome.
Bethany, I really support you in your running. I don't want to be in any way affiliated with it, but I totally am like your cheerleader at the end of the 5K. Sign me up.
I love it. Thank you. I love it.
All right, Bethany, I want to jump into one of my favorite questions, which is talking about failure and having you share a story with us about how you've overcome failure at some point in your career. So can you take us on a little journey with you? Tell us a story about a time you've had a failure. How did you overcome that? And then what did you take away from that experience?
Awesome. I love talking about failures, but in my mind, I don't really think of them as failures. I think of them as bumps in the road or like a speed bump. That, you know, we all slow down when we get to a speed bump, right? I'm sure my car would have something different to say about that. But no, I whenever I think of a failure, like as a teacher that I've had or a speed bump, it was really about 5 or 6 years ago when we figured out we were going to have a one-to-one program in my building. And I was super excited. And there were 2 real ways that I could have gone with that. I could have said, oh my gosh, we're getting technology. What am I going to do? Or I could have said, oh my gosh, we're getting technology. What am I going to do? I'm so excited. And I obviously took that second approach. And I just recently learned about the flipped classroom method. And I immediately was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to jump in head first. It's going to be awesome. And I started making my instructional videos. One of them was 18 minutes long. I got a lot better, don't worry. And I, basically told my kids, I need you to go on YouTube when you get home, and I need you to watch this video, and I need you to answer some questions and be ready to go when you get back. And the first couple days, I got some immediate street cred because I had a YouTube channel. So that was pretty cool. And the kids bought into it. And as time went on, I would have kids that say, my Wi-Fi went out, or I don't have internet at home, or I had to work or whatever. And I was really trying to embrace that flexibility that comes with the flip. And I said, that's okay. Just head on over to this other table, finish that video, and then you can come join us for the activity. That went on totally fine for a few weeks. And then one day, I'll never forget this young lady's face. She came up to me and said, Mrs. Petty, I just wanted to let you know that I didn't have time to finish my video last night. And I, went into my spiel, no problem, just head on back to, and she stopped me and she said, I know I'm going to head over to the corner of shame, but I just wanted to let you know why I didn't finish it. And I had that jaw drop on the floor moment. And I said, the corner of what? And she said, the corner of shame. That's what we call it whenever we don't have our videos finished. And I just immediately was like, what am I doing? What have I done to these kids? So that was that moment when I could have just said, oh my gosh, this is the worst thing ever, and thrown all the technology back into the corner, or I could have learned from it. And that's what I did. So instead of abandoning the flip, I decided to flip my flip. So now my kids, instead of watching 18-minute videos, oh my Lanta, I can't even imagine. I can't watch an 18-minute video about government, and I love it. But instead of doing that at home, we have 3 to 5 videos per unit that the kids watch during class. The videos are 3 to 5 minutes in length, and I'm there with my kids in the learning. We get the benefit of the flip, that individualized instruction where they can kind of slow down or speed up as they need to. But I'm there with them. I'm there for help in re-explaining a concept or explaining it a different way, or offering them extension opportunities, all those cool things that the flip offers, but I'm doing it there with them. And let's be honest, I'm also tech support sometimes with a website or with Wi-Fi issues. So that's one of the many failures I've had in my life, but I'm happy for it because I think my classroom's better for it.
I love that you flipped your flip. I think that's such an important lesson there, of the fact that it's okay to realize that you maybe were on a path you thought was good, but there was something wrong. You had to adjust, and you had to flip your flip, right? You made the big change, and you still have to tweak it. You still have to change it. Sometimes you have to change it in big ways, and that's okay. It's recognize that and changing it. That's how we get better every day. So I love that.
That's right.
Let's flip. Not to. I didn't mean to do this one, but let's flip that around. Let's talk about a successful moment. This can be something big or something small, but take us there with you again. What happened? Why was it a success for you? And what did you take away from that experience?
So I mean, other than becoming a mother, I mean, my daughters are they are my biggest success in life. But other than that, I would have to say getting up the courage to write my books, and then reach out to people and ask them to publish my book. And then from there, having people actually read them. After I finished each one of them and I held them in my hands, I just remember this weird feeling of, oh my gosh, that says my name on it. That's really cool. This actually happened. I worked really hard on something, and I've seen it actually come to fruition, which is just, it's an indescribable feeling. And, one of my goals in becoming a teacher was I wanted to make an impact. I wanted to make a positive impact on the future. And what better way to do that than to become a teacher? So when I decided to write my books, I was still using that same concept of I want to make an impact. I want to help people. I want to do something. I want to contribute. And the fact that I was able to have that goal and then go through all the hard work that comes in writing a book, and then watch that come to fruition and see people holding my book in their hand, that's just been really awesome. So that's definitely a huge successful moment for me.
Oh, it's a huge success. That feeling is indescribable. And I have to tell you, I resonate so much with your story about flipping the flip, flipping your classroom, because I too have gone through that process. I know educators listening, a lot of educators have gone through the process of trying to find the perfect balance of kind of giving students the ability to learn successfully in a classroom and trying to personalize as much as humanly possible. And I know Flip Classroom is one of the many ways, one of the many things that educators continue to try. I loved that story. When it comes to what you're doing now, and between the books and all the education that you're providing people, what do you find is really keeping you excited, kind of fueling your fire in everything that you're doing?
Well, I'm always, I'm always trying to find what my kids are in, like what my students are into. And I try to take advantage of that. Like a few years ago, when all of my kids seemed to start, they were on Instagram or they saw this on Snapchat or they saw this on Twitter. I'm like, how can I leverage that and bring it into my classroom to help them, help make the learning relevant? And the thing right now, of course, is TikTok. So my students, right before we went on, COVID quarantine back in March, they said, Mrs. Petty, you should make a TikTok. And I'm like, okay, I don't even really know what that is. You're going to have to break that down for me. I'm in my 30s. Come on now. And they said, no. It's kind of sort of like YouTube, but it's smaller. So of course they whip out their phones and they, explain to me what TikTok is. And before that, when I actually started flipping and putting all my videos on YouTube, I also started making these really cringy, however, very catchy songs to help my kids understand and remember government concepts. So they gave me the name. Are you ready for this? They gave me the name Petty Wop. And I'm like the rapper Fetty Wap. Yeah, it's bad.
My gosh.
It's bad. So anytime we get stuck on a concept, I say, okay, do we need to make a song about it? Now do we need to make a TikTok about it? And they're like, yes. So we come up with some sort of a song or a saying or a rap. I use that term very loosely. And then they film me. And then after class, I put it on TikTok. And the feedback is just hilarious. And their goal, of course, has been to make me go TikTok famous. And I'm still not sure if that's a positive thing or not, but apparently it happened. One of my videos is over 1.2 million views.
Whoa.
So, yeah. And so whenever that happened, it was just like it was a big party. They couldn't believe that Mrs. Petty's video went viral and everybody needed to know about it. And so anyway, so one of the things I'm really pumped about right now is what I can do with TikTok. And I started putting my raps on there just because my kids told me that I wouldn't. And I was like, okay, watch this. But as I started putting it out there, I started getting some questions and requests from other students around the world or around the country who were taking like advanced placement government or advanced placement U.S. history or something like that. And they're thanking me for the easy way to remember what Marbury v. Madison established, on and on and on. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so great. My goal for making an impact has, with this crazy platform of TikTok is expanding. So now I'm really excited to continue doing that, of course, but then try to offer some TikTok teacher PD, also some bite-sized tips and tricks that teachers can use. So that's where I'm at right now.
No kidding. There's so much good stuff in there. I think a lot of educators are scared of a lot of things you just noted, like even just getting on TikTok or having students film you in the classroom or really kind of like sharing in that vulnerability and working with students in the moment, ad-libbing, deciding that when something's hard, making a video. And so tell me a little bit, what piece of advice would you give teachers, whether it be about, TikTok or just in general about this whole mentality of being flexible and really providing what's best for kiddos? What advice would you give teachers?
Well, first that it is hard. It's as hard as you think it is, but not to give up. And even in the good days and the bad days and all the days in between, remember your why. So remember why you got into teaching. It probably was not for the summers off and, just all of the money that we get as teachers, right? All of the respect from everybody in the world. It was probably because you wanted to somehow positively impact the lives of kids, just like a teacher had a positive impact on you. And it's just remembering why you do what you do. And also shedding your shame. I mean, I think that once I just kind of let down that idea that I have to be this perfect teacher and I have to have this, this specific stance and I have to have all this sort of classroom management and all of this. Once I just kind of said, you know what, I'm just going to teach and I'm just going to be me and I'm going to have fun with my job. I think that my classroom has been better for it. If you walk in my classroom, you might see me perched up on a table helping a kid or drawing something on my iPad, or maybe I'm standing on the table in the front of my room and we're singing a song, and or maybe I'm using my iPad and we're playing Heads Up, or something like that. It's just, I realized a long time ago that not everyone is going to be geeky about government concepts like I am, but we can have fun learning in my classroom. So if I can bring in that fun, that level of engagement is going to increase. So
I love so much of that. And I just followed you on TikTok. So I'm going to learn to get geeky about it now. That's awesome. That's really cool. I want to get into our 6 sort of rapid fire questions here. Before we do that, I want to talk about your book. Or is it books?
Books. Oh my God.
Books. Tell us about the books. And then I think we're going to do a giveaway. So tell us about the books, and then tell us which one we're going to give away.
Awesome. So my first book is Illuminate, Technology Enhanced Learning, and it is 10 chapters of different ways that teachers can use technology to accomplish something in the classroom. So there's a section on engaging students with technology and motivating and assessing and reflecting. And one of my favorite chapters that I wrote was how students or how teachers can connect with other teachers around the world to bounce ideas off of and form that really, really awesome professional learning network. So Illuminate was published in 2019 by DBC. And in, I guess it was October of 2019, December, one of those 2 months, sometime in that time period, I got the idea for my second book. And my second book is Create, Illuminate Student Voice Through Student Choice. And in this book, I really break down different ways that teachers can provide our students with opportunities to demonstrate what they've learned. So we are in an awesome time in education where we don't have to have the same learning experience for all of our students. If you are a kid that really likes to write, then you can write an essay. If you're a kid that really likes to draw, then you can draw a comic strip that illustrates a point. If you're a kid that really likes to make videos, then let's make a video to illustrate that point. So that's what Create is all about, just offering our kids choice, keeping things relevant and engaging, and giving them some ownership in the things they create.
I love it. Awesome. So we're going to give one away. What are we giving away? Which one?
Let's give away Create. I love it. Let's do it.
We're giving away Create. Okay, here's what you got to do to get away. Go over to Instagram. Yes, it's perfectly fine if you create an Instagram profile simply to try and win the book. That's perfectly justifiable. Ray will give you the okay on that. Take a screenshot of wherever you're watching this right now. Whatever platform you use to watch your podcast, take a screenshot really quick. Jump on Instagram. Make sure you put it in your stories and tag at Teach Better Team. And then Bethany, what is your Instagram?
Yes, I'm at Bethany Petty _EDUC and the number 8.
There you go. That'll be in the show notes as well in case you need to help remember which ones those are. But make sure you tag both, and we will pick someone randomly from that. So awesome. Appreciate you, Bethany, for doing that. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
All right, let's keep having some fun here. Let's do the next 6 questions. Your goal is to answer each one in 15 seconds or less. Are you ready?
Okay, I got it.
All right. What is one ed tech tool you cannot live without?
Google Slides.
Give us a book you're reading right now.
A Promised Land by President Obama.
Who do we need to follow on Twitter or Instagram today? You can give us up to 3.
Okay, this is hard.
That's why we do 3.
Okay, definitely Matt Miller. Love him. Ditch that textbook. Casey Bell on Twitter, Shake Up Learning. She's fantastic also. And Tara Martin with Be Real. She's fabulous. Love her.
All right. What's a good YouTube channel, website, or podcast for educators to check out?
Okay, so I'm a high school social studies teacher, and I have fallen in love with the constitutional and the presidential podcast from the Washington Post. They are absolutely phenomenal. Definitely check them out.
Give us a daily, weekly, or monthly routine every teacher should get into.
Do something in the morning to release endorphins. So either hop on your treadmill and run, or do some push-ups, or walk around outside or something. Get some endorphins flowing.
Run a 5K.
Only if it's Monday.
I like that. Give us the best piece of advice you've ever received.
Definitely comes from my parents. Never give up. Keep trying.
Such a classic. Oldie but a goodie. I like that.
Right. That's right.
I like that style. Bethany, it's so fun to like meet your friends of your friends, right? Like I have followed you on social media. I know Jeff follows you on social media, but we have so many mutual friends in common. Yes. And it's really great to hear your backstory and like hear your energy in a podcast, just because it just further connects everybody. So I'm so, so appreciative, Bethany, that you were able to join us on Teach Better Talk. I know that we say this all the time, but like once you've been on the podcast, you're family. And so I cannot wait to continue learning about all the amazing things that you're doing. Would you mind sharing a little bit in case someone's listening and they don't already follow you or they want to learn more about all the things that you're doing? How can people stay connected to you?
Sure. Well, my blog is usingeducationaltechnology.com. It's kind of a mouthful. But you can also find me on Twitter. I'm at Bethany_Petty. I'm on Facebook, which is at Using EdTech. And if you want to hop on TikTok, I am at PettyWopEDU. And you can definitely catch me anywhere on social media.
And, you can find all the links, all the resources and everything we mentioned in this episode over at teachbetter.com, as well as those really important links for connect with Bethany and keeping the conversation going. So head over to teachbetter.com for all of that. Be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming episodes. And if you can give us a rating and review, really appreciate that as well. Let's keep taking this one step further. Think of just 3 of your colleagues who need to hear these amazing stories and connect with these amazing educators, and just share this podcast with them. Bethany, this was awesome. I'm so happy that we finally got you on the podcast and got to hear so many of your stories and learn more about you. I know there's so much value in this. I'm so excited for people to listen, but just thank you so much for taking some time out and hanging out with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It was awesome.
All right. And until next time, let's get out there and let's teach better.